Welcome to The Last Calm Word. Let us get started with today's story. It began with a polite invitation to dinner at Olivia's parents' townhouse. My parents, Charles and Linda, drove in from 2 hours away. They are simple people, quiet, practical. The kind who believe family matters should be handled with respect. Olivia's parents, Ruth and Tyler, were the opposite. Loud, confident, and convinced every conversation was a therapy session waiting to happen. The dining table looked like a magazine spread. I expected awkward small talk about the wedding, but I was not expecting the extra guest who arrived 15 minutes late. "Sorry, I am late." A smooth voice called from the hallway. Olivia's face lit up before I even turned. "Maxwell, you made it." Her ex-boyfriend, the man she had once called her creative soulmate. He hugged Ruth, and Tyler kissed Olivia on the cheek, then nodded at me as if we were old teammates. "Did not realize it was a full family thing," he said, taking the seat beside Olivia. Ruth smiled. "Oh, you are always welcome here, Maxwell. You are practically one of us." Dinner dragged into its second hour. Every time Maxwell spoke, Olivia's laughter came too easily. He told stories about their college trips, the film sets they worked on, the festivals they attended together. Each story began with "we" and ended with another reminder that they had once been inseparable. At one point, my father asked politely, "So you and Olivia have known each other a long time?" Maxwell grinned. "Oh, forever. I probably know her better than anyone." Olivia smiled at him. "He does. He has seen me at my best and worst." Then she turned toward me. "You would like him more if you stopped seeing him as my ex." I kept my tone calm. "It is not about liking him. It is about understanding boundaries." Her expression tightened. "Boundaries." She gave a small dismissive laugh. "You really need to stop worrying about things that are not problems." The table went quiet for a moment. I did not push back. I just looked at her, memorizing the way she said it. Confident, sure, untouchable. Later, I would realize that sentence was the first crack in everything we were building. The next week, Olivia and I sat in her studio apartment, surrounded by wedding notes. She was in planning mode, decisive, confident, and completely unaware of the tension still sitting between us after that dinner. "Here," she said, circling names on the wedding chart with a marker. "You will sit with my parents, and Maxwell will be right next to me at the main table." I paused. "The main table." "Yes," she said like it was obvious. "He is giving a toast after my dad's speech. It is sort of a tradition in our group. He has been part of every big milestone in my life. Birthdays, premieres, everything." I leaned back, trying to keep my voice steady. "Olivia, this is not a movie premiere. It is our wedding." She sighed. "You are overreacting again. It is not like I am asking you to share a dance with him." Just then, my mom, Linda, stopped by to drop off some invitations. She glanced at the chart. "Sweetheart," she said kindly, "maybe Maxwell could sit at one of the friends' tables. It might be less confusing for guests." Olivia's smile stiffened. "Confusing. My friends all know him." Ruth, who had come with her, jumped in. "Linda, dear, we believe in keeping family close. Even chosen family. Maxwell is family." Tyler nodded, adjusting his glasses. "Jerry, you need to understand that trust means accepting the people who matter to your partner." I looked from them to Olivia. "So to be clear, this man who used to date you will be seated next to you at our wedding and giving a speech." Olivia crossed her arms. "Yes, because he is important to me. And if you cannot handle that, maybe you are not as evolved as I thought." Ruth gave an approving nod like they had rehearsed it. I said nothing, just a quiet, calm nod. "Okay, we will see." I was not agreeing. I was observing because this was not about a seat at a table anymore. It was about where I stood in her life. And for the first time, I had the sinking feeling I was sitting in the wrong place. 3 days later, I came home early from a client meeting. Olivia's car was not in the driveway, but there was music playing inside. I stepped into the living room and froze. Maxwell was standing near the couch, unpacking camera gear like it was his own house. He looked up casually. "Oh, hey, Jerry. Olivia told me to drop this off. Thought she would be here by now." "She did not mention it," I said. He shrugged. "We've been editing her short film together. You know how it is. Deadlines. What I knew was that no one should be in my home without me knowing." "You used her key." He smiled like it was funny. "She gave it to me a while ago." "Relax, man." I did not answer. I opened the front door and gestured politely. Next time, let her handle her own deliveries. He hesitated, then packed up and walked out without another word. When Olivia came home that evening, I was waiting at the kitchen table. "Why does Maxwell have a key to our house?" She put her bag down slowly. "He needed access to the studio room for our editing sessions. We live here, Olivia. You did not think I should know someone else had a key." Her tone sharpened. "You are being controlling again. It is just a key, Jerry. Stop making everything a boundary issue." "I am not controlling," I said evenly. "I am asking for respect. There is a difference." She rolled her eyes and walked off. That was the end of the conversation for her anyway. For me, it was a new line in the sand. A week later, we attended a small film event at a local gallery. Olivia's short film was screening, and the room was packed. When she went up to speak, she smiled at Maxwell in the front row. "I could not have done this without my best friend and creative partner Maxwell," she said into the mic. "He has been with me through every dream and disaster. No mention of me. Not one word." I stayed until the applause faded, then quietly left. That night, I stopped asking questions. I started listening to what her actions were already saying. 2 weeks later, Olivia's mother called. "We would like to have you both for dinner on Sunday," Ruth said in that carefully polite tone people use when trouble is already brewing. Just to clear the air, my parents came along. Everyone sat at the long oak table. Tyler poured wine, trying too hard to sound casual. "Relationships evolve, Jerry," he said. "You cannot let insecurity ruin something that could be great." Olivia looked at me. "Dad's right. I am tired of defending my friendships. Maxwell is not the problem. You are." "I am not defending insecurity," I replied. "I am defending boundaries." Ruth leaned forward. "Boundaries are walls, Jerry. Marriage is about inclusion." I could feel my mother's patience thinning beside me. She spoke softly. "Inclusion is kind, but not when it confuses loyalty." That hit harder than anyone expected. Olivia's face went red. "You people act like I am betraying him. Maxwell is family. He is going to be at the wedding, at holidays, probably even helping with projects after we are married," Charles asked evenly. "And that works how exactly?" Olivia took a deep breath, then delivered the line that would end everything. Her voice was steady, loud enough for everyone to hear. "My ex will always be part of my life. He will be at our wedding, at our home, in our future. If you do not like that, do not marry me." The room went silent. Ruth nodded proudly, like her daughter had just given a TED Talk. Tyler looked at me with that same smug therapist face, waiting for my emotional outburst. Instead, I stayed still, looked at Olivia, then at my parents, then back at her. "Okay," I said quietly. Olivia blinked. "Okay, what?" I stood. "Okay, I will not marry you." "Mom, Dad," I said. "We are leaving." We walked out calmly, leaving 4 stunned faces behind. I did not look back. I did not need to. That night I realized I had not lost anything. I just stopped pretending I had not already. The drive home was silent. My father's hands stayed steady on the wheel. My mother looked out the window, calm but firm, like she had expected this ending for a while. 10 minutes passed before my dad finally spoke. "You handled that well," he said. "Better than I would have." "I am done arguing," I said. "You cannot reason with people who think respect is negotiable." When we reached my place, my phone started lighting up. Calls from Olivia, Ruth, Tyler, and even Maxwell. Texts poured in like a flood. "We need to talk. Do not make decisions out of anger. You embarrassed us." I did not answer any of them. I called one person, Sophia, our wedding planner. "Hey, it is Jerry," I said. "Cancel everything. The wedding is off." There was a pause. "Jerry, the invitations go out tomorrow morning." "Stop them," I said, "and forward all payment questions to Olivia's parents. They were covering the costs." I hung up before she could respond. By morning, the calls had turned into pleas. Olivia's messages bounced between rage and begging. "You cannot just walk out like that. You will regret it." I did not mean it that way. That afternoon, she showed up at my place. She still had a key, which would soon be a mistake to fix. She burst in red-eyed shaking. "You are really doing this?" I was at the kitchen counter boxing up her things. "Yes, you are throwing away 5 years over one argument." "No," I said, closing a box. "I am ending it because you drew a line and I chose my side." Her voice cracked. "I did not mean it. You meant every word. You just did not expect me to believe you." She went quiet, then eyes darting between me and the half-packed boxes. "I will stay at my parents' for a while," she said softly. "That is best," I replied. "I will have the locks changed tomorrow." She left without another word. That night I turned off my phone and sat in the dark. It was not grief that filled the room. It was peace. For the first time in years, I could finally hear myself think. By Monday, everything was unraveling. The caterer, florist, and venue all contacted Ruth and Tyler about refund policies. Each call cost them thousands. I did not lift a finger. I did not need to. By the end of the week, Tyler called me, his voice tight. "You cannot just cancel everything without consulting us," he said. "I did not," I replied. "Olivia made the decision for me when she said her ex would be part of our lives. I respected her boundary. Now I am respecting mine." He started shouting about money contracts and lawsuits. I stayed calm. "You are not suing me for saying no to a wedding that no longer exists. Handle your own bills, Tyler." And I hung up. Then came the spin. Ruth began telling friends that I had had a breakdown. Olivia told people I was jealous, unstable, even emotionally controlling. But the story spread faster than they could shape it. Word got around. Vendors asked questions. Mutual friends compared notes, and silence from my side spoke volumes. The truth came out. The ultimatum, the silence, the walkout, the sympathy they expected never arrived. Maxwell vanished first. He stopped showing up at their house, stopped taking Olivia's calls. The man who was family suddenly had no time for her. When I heard that, I did not feel gloating, just confirmation. Olivia moved back with her parents. She quit her freelance work for a few months, said she needed space. Tyler blamed Ruth for enabling Olivia. Ruth blamed me for abandoning their daughter. Meanwhile, I focused on work. I threw myself into a major design pitch for a new community center. Late nights, early mornings, no distractions, no drama. She texted me once months later. I miss what we had. I did not reply. Some lessons do not need words. They just need silence. By then, I was not angry anymore. I was free. The months after the breakup were quiet in the best way. I started sleeping better, working harder, and eating real meals instead of takeout. My design firm landed the community center project. It was the biggest contract of my career, and I poured everything into it. It reminded me who I was before the constant arguments, before every decision turned into a debate about my character. When the project proposal won the city award that summer, the mayor's office invited me to a dinner for the architecture team. That is where I met Nara, a project manager from the city's planning department. She was sharp, funny, and direct. The kind of person who asked questions because she actually wanted answers, not control. We started running into each other more often. Meetings, progress reviews, site visits. I did not think much of it at first. Then one night, after we had stayed late finalizing a layout, she smiled and said, "You do not talk much about your personal life." I smiled back. That is because I finally have one worth keeping quiet about. We started having coffee after meetings, then dinner after work. She listened more than she talked, and when she disagreed, she did not turn it into a performance. Everything with her felt steady, real. I did not rush into anything. I was not looking for a replacement. I just wanted peace, and she fit into that without forcing it. Meanwhile, word about Olivia's situation trickled through mutual friends. Her parents had downsized to a smaller house. The canceled wedding had damaged them. Maxwell had moved on, completely working overseas with another director. For the first time, I felt no bitterness toward any of them. They had built their world on perception. I had rebuilt mine on a foundation. A year after that final dinner, the city held a charity gala at the newly completed community center. It was the first major event inside the building, and I was the guest architect. Nara came with me wearing a simple black dress and her usual calm smile. As we walked in, I caught sight of the catering team setting up trays near the entrance. One of the volunteers turned, and for a split second, I did not recognize her. Then she looked up. Olivia. She froze. The confident woman who once lectured me about modern love looked smaller now. Tired eyes, forced smile, a shadow of the person I used to know. Our eyes met for just a moment. She managed a faint, polite nod. I returned it. Nara did not ask. She did not need to. An hour later, as I was stepping away from a group of guests, Olivia approached quietly. "Hi, Jerry." "Hi, Olivia." She looked down, then back at me. "You look happy." "I am," I said simply. "I just wanted to say I am sorry," she said. "For everything. I thought you would bend like everyone else does." I nodded. "You showed me who you were. I just finally believed you." She gave a small, broken laugh. "Maxwell is engaged now. I am figuring things out." "I hope you do," I said. There was no anger, no victory in my voice, just finality. She nodded once, whispered, "You deserve better," and walked back. Later that night, I gave a short speech on stage. When you build something, I said, the first thing you check is the foundation. If it is not solid, it does not matter how beautiful it looks. It will not last. The room applauded. My eyes met Nara across the crowd. She smiled, proud, grounded. That was the moment I knew I had closed every door that needed closing. The night ended where it all began, with a dinner. But this time, the table was mine. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Wishing you all the best, stay healthy, and take care of